Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of To The Max Outdoors. In the previous week's video, I asked about mouth call storage. I asked if you guys wanted to see it, or if you had any tips or tricks to share with me. You got pretty good feedback, so here's a little video of it. As you can see here, hanging on the little dolly hand truck here behind me, I have emptied my turkey vest out. Season is over. That bad dog right there is getting ready to go in the washing machine and hang outside to dry. And what you see in front of you here, minus the mason jar, what you see in front of you here is the calls. There's 6 mouth calls, 3 pot calls, and a box call. And that's pretty much all the calls I carry with me throughout the turkey season. I don't carry an owl call or a crow call. I can owl hoot myself, so I don't carry one of them. I will be looking to pick up a crow call. I just never have for whatever reason. I think I always get lucky and have geese or crows fly over, and I just happen to luck out on that. But I am looking for a crow call is what I'm getting at. So as far as mouth calls go, even throughout the season, I'll carry my calls like this. Now what these are is little plastic hors d'oeuvre cocktail toothpicks. And what I do is there's 215 of them right here in this little box. I know my wife just bought them this year from, I don't know, Target, somewhere, dollar store, hell, I don't know. But all I do is take the little cocktail toothpicks. They're plastic. I break them in half so I can manage them. And then hopefully you can see right there, I shove them in between the reeds. If it's a 2 reed call, split them. 3 reed call, split them twice. That keeps the reeds from adhering to each other. They are latex, so they will try to bend it, or they'll try to adhere to a little to each other when they dry. And in my mind, pardon that's the hot water tank burping in the background. In my mind, if I put that mouth call in my mouth when a turkey's coming, I don't want to have to sit there and fight my tongue and my saliva in my mouth to get those reeds separated and make a bad call. So always carry my mouth calls in my case with the reeds separated. Right or wrong, I don't know. It's probably a mental thing. But as far as caring for my mouth calls, if I know I'm going to take a 2 or 3 days off, like if I got to work or something, this is what I go through, and the same process goes through right now. So we're into June right now, the 6th month. I will turkey hunt again in October, which is our fall season. So this process is what I'm doing right now. These calls will be stored like this until October. Now, it's simple. What I do, I grab a little mason jar, or hell, even a cup or a coffee cup, it don't matter. And I just put, say, 1 inch worth of warm water in it. And then I'll take some mouthwash, and this is Crest Pro Health. I think the biggest thing you're looking for is alcohol free. And there again, I'm not a professional at this. I've just been doing this for a lot of years, and it's been working perfect for me. So alcohol free mouthwash. And I don't know, probably a 70-30 mix. You definitely want way more water than you do mouthwash. So that's all I'll do is make that little solution right there, and then I'm going to dump all my calls in there, every one of them. And I take the reed separators, the plastic cocktail toothpicks, I take them out of them prior to putting them in there, which leads to another point. Mouth call care even happens when you're using the mouth call. Don't be using that mouth call with snuff in your mouth, or chewing tobacco, or bubble gum, or drinking Mountain Dew or Dr. Pepper. No food particles in your mouth. Keep your mouth as clean as possible. Keeps these calls as clean as possible. You don't want any kind of particles getting in between your reeds, because they'll screech on you and you'll sound like a honking goose when that tom's out there at 10 yards, and you don't want that. Take care of them. It's pretty simple. So, getting back on point, I will leave these calls in there 30-40 minutes, maybe no longer than an hour. You do not want to compromise any of the adhesive on those calls. So we're going to pretend like 40 minutes has went by. Now, what I'll do is I'll grab a call out of there, and I'll save all my plastic toothpicks. I reuse them. But this is what I do. Like, this is a batwing cut here call. This is a Newman Brown run and gun game call. I believe it's called the batwing, but it has a batwing cut to it. Take that little toothpick, separate that first reed. Now, as you can see there, you can see that air gap that you've created. That's perfect in my mind. Newman Brown may tell me I'm wrong, but I don't know, it's been working for me. And then this back reed here, and there again, we're not trying to puncture that reed. All we're doing is just gently fishing that up in there, and we're separating it. Try to get it as good as we can in the camera there, but I've separated the 3 reeds that this call has. I've separated it. Once I do that, I'll lay them all out on a paper towel. That's what this is here, is a paper towel. I'll lay them all out there and I'll let them dry. I'll flip them, I'll dab them around, get all the excess moisture on them, and I'll leave them like that probably overnight most times, even during the season. Like again, if you know you're going to have a 2 or 3 day window, don't let these calls sit in your case in the truck or in the case they come in. Don't let them do that. You'll dry them out and ruin them. There again, we're going to pretend like this is dried off overnight. I do use the Primos mouth call cases. They're like $2.99. It's super cheap insurance, and they're awesome. They're super handy. Put them in there, close the case up, and then I put this case in the crisper drawer of my refrigerator. I'm fortunate enough to have a refrigerator in my basement that's our overflow. Put them in that crisper drawer, and I can guarantee you, comes 4 months from now, when I pull them out of there, those calls are going to work good. Now, when I pull them out of storage, what I'm going to call long-term storage, even if it's through the season, I'll do the process again. Let's say that this call's been in the refrigerator now for, let's just say a week. Say we took a week off, maybe something happened, we had to work. I'll do the same thing. This time I'll leave the toothpicks in them. I'll soak them in there 10-15 minutes, put them back out on the paper towel, let them dry out, put them in my mouth, run them, make sure I didn't deform them at all, dip them back in the water, 5-10 minutes, dry them out again, and then once they're completely dry, I leave the cocktail picks, the reed separators we'll call them for lack of a better term. I'll leave them in there and I'll store all my calls, even through hunting season, just like that, with the reed separators in them. Now, first thing in the morning, when I'm ready to use one, I just gently roll the toothpick part of it out, put them in my mouth, wet it a tad bit. 99% of the time, they're running money like they were built to run. So that's as simple as that. And then say the day's over. Let's say it's 1:30 because our genius DNR says we can only hunt till 1 o'clock. Say it's 1:30, I'm getting in the truck. Usually always have a bottle of water with me. Get some water in my mouth, run this call a little bit through some water in my mouth, and I'll put the reed separators back in them, put them back in my case, and they always go somewhere it's cool and dry. And like I said, I get a lot of years out of game call or mouth calls like that. I think that's cheap insurance that only costs you 5 minutes worth of work, and everybody's got 5 minutes of an evening to do that. Save your calls, because there's nothing worse than putting a mouth call in your mouth when you can't run some kind of pot call or a box call when that bird's breaking open. Maybe you decided you're hunting a different area and you didn't pick a good tree to set up on, and your Captain Obvious wide open to everything. That mouth call will save you. When you put that mouth call in your mouth that's been separated and handled properly, it's going to work like it's supposed to. It's not going to squeak on you. I hope that helps somebody. That's the way I take care of my mouth calls. Now, as far as the pot calls and this stuff goes, I carry 3 of them with me. Got aluminum call, a glass call, and a slate call, and all their associated strikers. I'll clean them up, make sure there's no dirt, water, any kind of garbage on them. I give them all kind of a fine sand with their respective. I carry sandpaper and Scotch-Brite for each call. I never intermingle sandpaper or Scotch-Brite. It's a mental thing, it's OCD, whatever it is, but each one of these calls has their own roughing device that I use for them. Check over all my strikers, make sure nothing's deformed, and set it and drop one in the mud, shut it in the car door, make sure you're all good to go there. I carry a box call with me, just a cheap old booger bottom flex tune call. Sometimes I like it, but usually it just rides along with me. But what I'll do is I'll clean it up pretty good, make sure I don't have a bunch of stupid excess chalk on it, And then what I've been doing for a lot of years is I'll just take one of these cheap old totes from the dollar store. I'll put all these calls in their strikers and my box call. I put all that stuff together. And then somewhere here, or here, I take a bag of silica gel decussant. Anytime you buy shoes or a gun or anything, you come with these little things. Leave these guys outside on a nice hot sunny day. The sun will dry them out for you. Put that guy in the bag. Put your lid on it. Put it in the closet. Put it somewhere. If you're fortunate enough to have a closet that your wife allows you to put your stuff in like I do, I'll put it in there. I bury it. It's in a cool, dark area all the time. And I know when I pull these out here for the fall season, everything's ready to go. I do a re-inspect on it when it comes out, and everything's good to go. So there again, pretty simple, basic rundown of how to store for mouth calls. I wish I'd have known this a long time ago. It probably would have saved me a bunch of money, because when I first started doing this 25 plus years ago, I was buying calls every couple years. I think it's really good, cheap insurance. Like I said, alcohol free is probably the only thing that I could mention that would be the best option. Stay away from anything that's abrasive. You don't want to kill the adhesive by any means at all. So I don't know if this helps somebody. Let me know. If you guys do the same process, let me know. That's just my general way of doing it, and get a lot of years out of calls this way. So thank you for watching To The Max Outdoors.